So I was wondering, have you ever thought that there are certain social media sites out there that protect certain voices, specific rhetoric, depending on exactly what kind of banner they unfurl? That's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about John Levine discussing Carlos Maza and him almost getting shut down in the moment. I mean, it's insane to look at because he does nothing wrong in that. But you don't have to do anything wrong. All you have to do is challenge the status quo. And well, in doing that, you know how that's going to go. Hey there. So today's video is an impromptu one, meaning it's done spur of the moment, not a lot of editing, and apologies if you don't like that type of coverage. The reason that I want to do this, though, is because this type of thing is important. Why? Not because of John Levine, not because of Carlos Maza, but rather because you can get shut down for covering something, and you might not even know why. Not only that, but say a John Levine, he can actually make enough noise to have his account restored. How many other people can say the same? I mean, how many people lose their accounts day in, day again, because they talk about the truth of something, like this subject here. So when we look at this subject, and how it begins, I like this post actually. Our social media Maza has consistently urged his fans and followers not to trust political advice from wealthy people. This example featuring James Carville is typical. So there are two screenshots attached to this that we're going to be examining, but the first thing that I want you to notice with them is not the content of it, but rather how much impact that this has. See, when you look at likes, for example, one thing that you have to think about is how many people actually saw that and weren't motivated to hit the like button. You already have almost 18,000 people clicking that saying, yeah, forget that guy. But you have hundreds of thousands of people that saw that just to get that result. You have thousands of people commenting too. How many people did this motivate to repost and on? Again, think about the push that it has. So Carlos Maza put in, just found out James Carville, who spends his time lecturing Democrats for being too far left, lives in an absolutely obscene 4-story mansion, and dear God, can we stop taking political advice from the ultra-wealthy? The second thing, it carries this same thing too. You really have to respect this guy's grift, consistently dressing in normal clothes on TV to feign relatability while living like this. Masterful con artist. So you see, they say, oh my God, he dresses like this. He's just trying to pretend to be one of you guys. I mean, really, looking at his house there, he doesn't deserve you. And you see, like I said, a lot of people agreeing with that. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but John Levine, he writes for the New York Post, and he penned a little article about Carlos Maza that showcases how that narrative that he's using there, that narrative, it applies to Carlos Maza. Now, he also tags Carlos Maza into this, saying, hey, we shouldn't be taking advice from the ultra wealthy, should we? Only problem is, aren't you part of the ultra wealthy? Now, when you stop to examine the article about Carlos Maza, you can understand why you would want this shut down. See, it's talking about how he's wealthy, how he lives in luxury, and how he rails to 150,000 followers on Twitter and YouTube saying, hey, don't trust people like that guy. He also asks for money on his Patreon account at $2, $5, and $10 a month, supporting that narrative. But when you start looking closer, well, quote, through his clan, the millennial firebrand is connected to multiple Florida mega mansions, a $7.1 million pad at the Upper West Side purchased under an LLC, and a yacht by luxury boat maker Donzi, I guess. I don't know. Maybe Carlos Maza could donate one so I could learn to pronounce it better. Continuing, Maza's mother was one of the first employees at Ultimate Software, a Florida-based behemoth that now employs more than 5,000 people. Starting in 1990 as an office manager, she ultimately rose to become the group chief people officer in 2004. In addition to her day job, his mother also developed a very close personal relationship with the company founder, SS, so close that an independent assessment of the company in 2016 cited the relationship as a corporate governance concern. The report said the pair were believed to be more than just co-workers and have a familial relationship. The two later became engaged, and the couple has lived together for years, with SS being a de facto stepfather to Carlos. Now, isn't that interesting? I mean, isn't that one of those concerns that we hear from these people all the time, too, about people taking advantage of their underlings? I mean, if Carlos really wants to make a statement, he should probably call that out, too. But continuing on. Now, public records show that the family, including Carlos, all registered to vote at a 5-bedroom, 8-bathroom waterfront palace in Boca Raton, Florida. The property sold in 2018 for $10.8 million, according to the realty website Zillow. SS also unloaded a 4-bedroom, 4-bath home in Weston, Florida for $1.85 million in 2015. The mother currently resides full-time in a $4.4 million luxury condo in Fort Lauderdale, which she lists as her primary residence, according to a 2020 report filed by LCH23 LLC, which she controls. This same LLC purchased a $7.125 million condo on the Upper West Side of Manhattan in November 2017. Now, while serving as CEO of Ultimate Software, SS was one of the most handsomely compensated CEOs in the country. 2015, he took home $38.3 million, CBS News reported. 2018, SS's total stock and options in Ultimate were valued at $17.8 million, with shares at the time selling for about $38. In 2019, the company sold for $11 billion, with stock going for $331.50, almost certainly making SS and the family 9-figure millionaires, if not billionaires. Now, it's unclear how much these folks actively support Maza's lifestyle, but evidence suggests the family has been happy to pitch in to help spread his socialist message. Both the stepfather and mother are listed as comrades at the end of Carlos's most recent YouTube video, and the younger Maza himself admitted in an interview with Mel magazine that his family was there to financially back him if he needed it. Now, it's an all too familiar story where people in positions of prominence, they try to utilize buzzwords in order to convince us plebs that they're anything but. Now, when you report on this too, you might as well think that you're going to be targeted. And you know what? John Levine, he definitely is. What's interesting about this, as we go forward too, he's going to say, hey, Twitter contacted me. They told me this is an error. Everything is fine. But you know what? They're going to double back and they're going to shut him down for it yet again. So here's his first update talking about the issue. Twitter locked me out of my account last night over some Carlos Maza reporting. A rep for the company tells me that their action against me was quote-unquote an error, TLDR. I'm out of Twitter jail, and all of my original postings remain live. I want to thank everyone who made a fuss about it here, and also Twitter support for swiftly handling the matter. Now, the reason that this became an issue at all is because people were very vocal about it at the time. And they should have been, because he didn't break any rules talking about this stuff. And it looks like everything's been fixed until you notice, this tweet is no longer available because it violated Twitter rules. He got shut down for talking about this. See, skipping a couple of posts, you'll find a second update where he's discussing this. And in this, he says, despite initially calling their decision to lock my account, quote unquote, an error, Twitter locked me out again a few hours later over the same Carlos Maza story. I have reluctantly deleted the tweet, and I'm sharing with you some of the timeline here. This is Orwellian, and I have to agree it is absolutely insane to see. Now, what's absolutely insane about this, the last thing that I want to cover, are the two screenshots in that. Why? Because the same person is going to tell him, hey, we unlocked that because of an error, and then come back and say, you know what? On second thought, we're locking you down again. So, hi, John. Thanks for reaching out. The enforcement action we took was an error, and the account is now unlocked. Best, and you can see the name despite it being scratched out somewhat. Then they come back and say, hey, John, you know, in further investigation, these tweets violate our Twitter rules, specifically our private information policy. The account will remain locked until the tweets are removed. Thanks. Same person talking about it. Isn't that crazy? But then again, you know, are you surprised at all? So ending this, I want to ask you for your thoughts, and I want to thank you for your time. Not enough people thank you for showing up and participating, but you're the one who makes this work. I mean, without you, it's just talking into a microphone to nothing. So thank you for your time. I do not want to monopolize it, but if you do like this and you want to help out the channel, consider subscribing to it, sharing videos. But again, your time is valuable. Don't want to waste it, but I do want to thank you for it. So anyway, we'll have another video, I'm sure, later. Check that out. And again, thank you very much.